How you doing? I'm Ben, and I like to draw, paint, and sculpt, particularly in this stylized way. And today, I want... Ben, Follygon. Been following you for bloody ages. Love his 3D work, the simple shapes, the smoothness. There's a YouTube collab. Huh. I'll be sending over a secret prompt in the next couple of days. Be ready. Yeah, of course, man. I'll be ready. Will I be ready? I mean, was that even him? Am I getting catfished? Didn't I have a bloody bad drawing day? So what I'm going to do now is open the prompt that he sent me live. Not live, like this is recorded, but I've not seen it yet. So you can see it's top secret here. So let's take a look. Ben, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to create a character using the following prompt. Scroll for I love user experience of this. I love it. Almost there. A little further. Oh my Lanta. Let's open the link. It's just like a virus. It's sushi. Okay. I love sushi. Initial thoughts, textures, sort of orange and pink and white could be the color. All right, lots of ideas. Not really. I'm kind of blanking at the moment. But yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, let's get stuck into it.
Never use someone else's drawing as a reference.
Who's saying this? Ben DeAngelis, aka Follygon, is a prolific 3D artist and more recently 2D artist, with his Follygon YouTube channel focusing mainly on zBrush sculpting, and his more recent channel Drawbli with his wife Abby, where they're documenting their process on learning how to draw and paint in 2D.
When I got into drawing, I was like, oh man, this is so, different and difficult because I'm going from knowing one thing really well to kind of starting over.
And today we're chatting about the character design based on Ben's prompt that he sent through sushi.
Well, I can see a little shape language. I'm not sure if that was intentional.
It wasn't. I'll take it. Everything you say is correct. He's also sculpted this character and has a video up on his channel right now at the same time as this one. So make sure you check out that one after this video. I'm going to just talk about the character here. We go into all things art, like a few of his paintings, and you actually see the layers. So you can kind of almost reverse engineer how he does it. So
drawing things specifically from imagination or creating from imagination, it's less like you have this perfect thing in your head.
Controversial opinions. What is it? Is it the golden something where like they always put it on a spiral
the golden
or something?
Ratio? Yeah.
I could put that spiral on anything. I can take it or leave that sort of stuff. Like maybe it's helpful, maybe not. Maybe I'm naive and my future self is going to be annoyed at me saying that. Little tips and tricks that we found out along the way.
That is genius.
Yeah, it's I stole it. I saw it on YouTube. So I'm like, sick, that's wicked. I can't remember who I saw it from. Frustrations that are inevitably going to happen.
I love getting in and working on the tiniest minutia only to realize that I've made almost no changes.
The worst is when you do it and you spend like hours and hours and then you flick back and forth to what it was.
And you're like, oops.
And then you're like, oh, that was way better. And I genuinely just had a fantastic time talking to Ben. So it turns out it wasn't a catfish. It really was Follygon. And yeah, hope you enjoy it.
I can't wait to sculpt this character.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you come up with, man. I'm looking forward to it. Hello, hi, I'm Frank. In case you're new here, I'm one of Ben's characters that he made, and I'm here to tell you about his 8-hour, 10-chapter walkthrough tutorial. Not only does it have some videos, but it also comes with a 40-page PDF field guide, and he's also sculpted some models for you to study and learn to sync in 3D like he does. The link is in the description, but you already know this. Anyway, don't mind me. You two have fun with your little chitty chats. Toodles. Now, I'm here with Ben DeAngelis, as you may know as Follygon. If you're not already following him, you should be. And we're going to go through the time lapse of what I've made from his prompt, sushi, which was a lot of fun. Ben, great to be here. A couple of Bens.
Thank you for having me on your channel, man. I'm excited to take a look at your art. I've seen the first little bit of you gathering some references. Pulling in a bunch of different sushi, a couple different characters from Big Hero 6 and some other stuff. So I'm excited to see what you've cooked up for me.
Yeah, man.
Want to count us down? 3, 2, 1, go, and I'll hit play at the same time?
Let's do it. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, it's going. And I'm seeing a lot more references pop up.
Yep.
And like I said to you earlier when we were just chatting before we started recording, I normally get like an instant reveal for, an artwork, but this is like a nice slow roll, excuse the sushi roll pun, but a slow roll of getting to see this unfold. So I'm really excited to kind of see how you kind of work this in the beginning and kind of where we land.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing for me is reference. Like when I was starting Even this like stylized stuff, the reference, for some reason I thought that I should already know how to draw a lot of this stuff. And I was just getting very frustrated. But it's just like, just use reference. And particularly style reference as well, not just I really like style reference, as you've seen like Big Hero 6 and a lot of other sort of stylized characters here. That's a massive help for me as well.
Oh, I completely agree. A lot of the time I'll see advice centered around like never use someone else's drawing as a reference for yourself, and I'm like, what are you talking
Who's
about?
saying this?
It's like a really common piece of advice that I see from artists all the time. They're like, you should be referencing real people, and I'm like, if you want to make stylized characters or whatever, like you should be learning from those people and those references.
Yeah, man. Like for me, I don't know.
So crazy.
There's no like right or wrong way to do any of this stuff, you know. Like I'm still learning. You're still learning. It's all kind of up in the air, really, for me. But it's that's all these hard and fast rules. I don't pay any attention to them anymore. Just sort of try and figure it out. But for this, where I'm at the moment, I wanted to be a little bit more subtle with the with the prompt. I didn't just want to throw like a maker into sushi. Somehow I wanted to see if you can just sort of spot the sushi motifs, I guess.
I can see a little shape language with the shape of the eye. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but I'm getting a sushi roll shape language there.
It wasn't, but that's cool. I'll take it.
Okay. All right. You're very welcome. Now, art is all about the viewer's experience and interpretation.
That's right. So everything you say is correct. There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, but I wanted to take that sort of salmon sashimi on rice sort of idea and sort of throw that into the mix. So if you notice, as I start to add some color, it might be more apparent. But sort of mainly, even I'll just say it's just the top of her head with her hair.
Yeah. The hair. That was the kind of thing I was noticing there, especially looking at the little piece of salmon over there on the right that you had.
Yep.
So as you're working here, do you eventually reach a point where you just like put the reference away entirely and you're just like focused on kind of refining from there, or what does that look like for you?
I sort of keep going back and forth. So you notice there's a point here where I've kind of got the concept down. I actually took some reference of myself as well for the hand, which is super useful, and something that I've been doing more and more of lately is really just like taking reference of myself. But here you'll see I'm just sort of going for it. I've got an idea in my head and I'm just sort of going for it, but you'll notice that I'll bring back the reference as I go for certain things, like when I wanted to get the salmon right, or I wanted to sort of have a look to see how the lighting on certain characters sort of made sense in sort of like that more studio lighting. Or sometimes I'll look at it once and then I won't look at it again. There's no like right or wrongs or any sort of real hard and fast rules that I follow. But in this one, I do bring it back a little bit later. But here I'm just trying to think about the light source. So this is more of the black and white to color process. So I'm just really thinking about values, and I'm not going too dark with my darks or too light with my lights. I want a nice little middle ground, if that makes sense. So it gives me room later on to really push them with some sort of like layer modes and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm loving the design so far. I love the big poofy jacket. I love what you were doing there with the hand. I've seen some of your little shorts lately. You've been getting into sculpting. I saw the little Spider-Man hand that you were working with.
Yeah,
looking pretty sweet. Love what you do with your fingers and all of your works. You got some really nice stylization happening there. Love the contrast with the straights and curves. Big fan of that kind of thing.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, speaking of the sculpting, I've fallen in love with it, and it's helped me.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Phenomenally with my 2D work. Like
oh, really?
There's something about holding it in, like I've done like 3D sculpting a little bit, but there's something about holding it in your hand and being able to actually physically touch it and see the forms move and that sort of stuff. It's just something that sort of clicks a little bit easier for me with some of these sort of stylized characters and that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely something that's going to be more and more in my content and just in my artistic journey, I guess you could say.
That's awesome.
Moving forward, I love it, man. It's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, but the opposite direction, where when I got into drawing, I was like, oh man, this is so, different and difficult because I'm going from knowing one thing really well to kind of starting over. And for that, it can be like a little frustrating, but it didn't feel quite as frustrating as it felt just like so fun and interesting because I felt like I could be a beginner at something again, which was something I hadn't felt in an artistic medium in a while.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It is.
I live for those like little aha moments that you get along the way. And I guess like as you start to sort of get better at something, they're fewer and far between, if that makes sense. But yeah, starting something new, it's just like all these aha moments sort of like kicking off all the time. All the little dopamine hits. It's like, oh yeah, that looks good. Oh, I figured this out. Oh, this new tool, this and that is just, I love it.
Yeah. I am loving this so much, by the way, and we're like not even halfway through the footage, and it's looking amazing. It's really looking incredible. I love the color scheme that you chose. I'm loving the sushi motif, like you said, with the hair. I'm not sure where it's gonna go from here, but I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah,
I came prepared with a few questions for you. Ooh, that I thought would be fun, but I'm not gonna give you like the run of the mill like, how did you get started in art? What's your favorite brush? What software do you use? The typical. I'm not a fan of those. So yep. I brought some slightly more artistic questions, let's call them.
Yep.
And this is my first one that I wanted to throw your way, which is if you could essentially like snap your fingers and gain the artistic ability, expertise, knowledge of any one artist, who would it be?
JC Leyendecker.
Oh, that's actually a really great pick.
Yeah, he's way ahead of his time, I reckon. If anyone's
for sure
not seen his work, highly recommend checking it out. He's an old master back in the what would you say, 40s, 50s, 60s, something like that, I believe. Or even earlier, maybe.
I think 1940s.
Yeah, around there. But yeah, I just love. He was almost like the original. It probably wasn't just him, but he's one that I've sort of followed for a long time. The original stylizationer, you know, just the way he pushes his shapes, even with his rendering. Like I try and get a little bit of that in some of my work. Like I'm pretty influenced by him.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah,
I feel like there's been a JC Leyendecker renaissance of sorts lately, where I've like you, been a big fan of his work for a while, and I feel like within the past even 3 to 6 months, I've just seen like tons of people doing either studies on him or all sorts of different I feel like he's more in the limelight than he has been in recent years.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I love what he does with his like hatching on his shapes to render like this really nice kind of stylistic effect.
Yep.
And it's something I've tried to replicate myself to not the exact same level of finish.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I got a book on him, and you can actually see the paint strokes. Like you get really up close. Even if you look at
that's awesome.
Google Arts and Culture or something, you can actually zoom right into one of his paintings.
Really?
Or like a few of his paintings, and you actually see the layers. So you can kind of almost reverse engineer how he does it. So those like cross hatch lines, oftentimes is actually the canvas underneath.
It's an underpaint.
Yeah, so he actually leaves that out. So he like doesn't like once he's done that, he like leaves it. And then he's just is very careful to sort of make the hatching sort of make sense in the painting itself. But
that's super cool that you can kind of figure that out by looking at the higher res pieces.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think it's Google Arts and Culture is the website, and you see the video at the moment is kind of still. I might be making like ultra little changes.
You're making the tiny.
Or I've messed up and I went out and I've left it on record. Oh, no. Here we go, and I'm back.
That's all right.
Something's happened. I saw something flicker.
I also saw something flicker. That's okay. I love getting in and working on the tiniest minutia, only to realize that I've made almost no changes.
Oh. The worst is when you do it and you spend like hours and hours, and then you flick back and forth to what it was.
And you're like, oops.
And then you're like, oh, that was way better what I had just before.
Yeah, that's the best.
But here I go. Yeah, I'm back and doing bits and pieces. So here I started to actually you can't see it because it's recording in another window. A quick tip: if you are doing screen recordings in Photoshop, you can go into, I believe it's Window, Arrange, and then you can create a new version of the canvas that you're working on. Put that on another screen and then record that, so you don't get the zoom in, zooms out, and the flip back and forth kind of thing if you're sharing it on social media.
Nice.
That
is genius. I love it.
Yeah, it's I stole it. I saw it on YouTube, so I'm like, sick. That's wicked. I can't remember who I saw it from, but yeah,
that's a great tip. Yeah, I like how Procreate just records your brushstrokes for your canvas and does a nice little time lapse for you.
That is the best thing about using Procreate. It just it's nice. It just does it for you. But here I was doing a lot of selections with like the last. So here you'll see me actually select out different parts of the clothing. I actually had the eyes, the eyelashes, the skin, the hair, the jacket, the inner jacket, all on separate layers there for a little while, so that it just speeds up my process, so I can go in and make sort of broader strokes and smoother sort of transitions and that kind of stuff as I was going, to get more of like a cleaner feel. If you want more of a painterly look, you don't need to do that, but it's just something that I chose to do here. And one thing with the hair as well, if things are looking a little bit too like quote unquote perfect, like just breaking up the silhouette just with a few of those flyaway hairs really makes it just add a little bit of believability to it as well, because sometimes I do it and I'm like, it's looking a little bit plastic for my liking, but then as soon as you start adding some of those flyaway hairs, it's just adds another.
It doesn't take a lot either.
Nah, definitely not. It takes like 2 seconds, just go whoop, whoop. And here, so I went back into the reference for the jacket, I think, to think about the forms of that little clip and just add a little bit of something where it sort of is folding over.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, what about you, man? What's the artist that you've been if you could snap your fingers and sort of I'll take all your skills.
Flipping it back. There are a lot, but I feel like one of the most valuable might be someone like our rest his soul, Kim Jong-gi, just because of the fact that he had such a massive mental library, and I don't even know if mental library is actually the right term. He just had an absolutely absurd amount of experience to where he could sit down and make a few brushstrokes and then literally turn that into anything. I think he just literally drew all the time to the point where it affected his health in a very negative way. But yeah, I think I would probably pick him if I could snap my fingers and gain all that skill. That would be amazing.
Definitely.
A lot of experience.
One of my favorite things that I heard him say, or read him say on one of his interviews was, it's a shame that you can't see the invisible lines that I see. So what he's doing is like every even from the first stroke, he's using that as kind of a reference for the next stroke in perspective. So instead of drawing out all these guidelines and that kind of thing, he's actually using the objects that he draws as the guides to sort of create the whole massive worlds that he creates just on a 2D surface. And that was a really massive insight that I found from him. I was like, oh frick, all right, it's not just you don't have that in your mind and you're just putting it on paper. It's sort of like as you go, you kind of discover the perspective and that kind of stuff. And that was a big eye opener for me with Kim Jong-gi.
It's interesting that you say that or phrase it in that way, because something I've thought about more lately with the idea of drawing things specifically from imagination or creating from imagination, it's less like you have this perfect thing in your head and you're like, I'm going to put this on the page. It's more like you have a general rough idea or concept or direction you want to go. You start doing that on the page, and then you have so much experience in your belt. You have all these tools that you can start taking that and actually tweaking and adjusting and putting it into a good place. So I think that kind of relates to what you were saying about, like, he doesn't have the perspective and the whole layout done. It's not he's not like downloading this JPEG from his brain onto the page.
But it seems like that though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you about your colors with your characters. So I noticed initially you had the same basic color for everything, and then you started changing the jacket mainly. So is that something that you normally do?
No, I just thought like from changing the jacket from green to orange. You mean?
Yeah.
I just thought like, all right, seaweed is green.
Okay.
And then I'll make the jacket green. It was really that. It's nothing. Like
getting an inside look into the machinations of Ben Evelyn's mind.
That's it. It's that simple. I was like, oh, that'll be cool. And that's, I think a lot of like, I think you can sometimes over intellectualize some of this stuff as well, because I'm very analytical and I love to dive deep into things and I love to understand the whys, and sometimes it's literally just like, what's going to make this cool?
Yeah.
Let's try that. And if it works, awesome. If not, well, then we'll try something else to make the thing look cool, instead of having this like deep meaning behind stuff. Like, it's cool to have meaning behind stuff, and I've been thinking more and more about like story and how to like draw, like what's worth drawing and painting as well. But yeah, sometimes it's just like, oh, that'll look cool, let's try it. And then we try it and then, yeah, it looks all right.
Yeah. For that exact reason, I've never been a huge fan of fine art. I'm probably a little more so than I was when I was younger, but you know, for the whole like interpretational aspect of things, I'm more a fan of, you know, the general process of creating rather than having this finished piece with this big, you know, emotional impact or spiritual meaning or whatever. Especially in this day and age when art is like so cheap in the sense of like, you know, it's just kind of put out every day by a million people.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. Like, even when it comes to things like this could be blasphemy, but like the golden like rule, or like the what is it, is it the golden something where like they always put it on the spiral,
the golden
or something.
ratio.
Yeah, and they put it on the spiral of flowers and that. So I'm like, maybe like I could put that spiral on anything, kind of. Like I could fit it on a lot of stuff.
True.
I'm just like, I can take it or leave that sort of stuff. Like, maybe it's helpful, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm naive and my future self is going to be annoyed at me saying that. But at the moment, I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Well, your piece is finished here while we were chatting.
Oh, yep.
And it looks incredible. Like, it looks absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to get in and start sculpting this gal.
Yeah.
I love the shapes in the face. I love what's going on with the bridge of the nose up into the brow.
Yeah.
Really love the shape that you've created there. I think that's going to be super fun to make. The hand is going to be super fun. I love the shapes that you do in your fingers. I mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
Got a really nice appeal there. And the sushi feels so squishy, the way that you've rendered the chopstick going into the rice and the salmon there. That's awesome. I love it. It's going to be so cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's those little things that can sort of make it feel just that little bit more realistic. Like it's the same technique as sort of like the glasses, like the edge of the glasses going into the hair, so it's just like pushing in just a tad. It's just values, essentially. If you turn that black and white, the values hold up. Colors to me are like secondary. It's a lot of it is very like value heavy, like where are my darks and my lights, and how does that make sense with the lighting scenario as well, and thinking about that up front instead of getting all the way through and just being like, oh, it's not looking right. Oftentimes if it gets to that, it's because the values are off and I didn't have an understanding of the light source in the first place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Ben, I think you missed your calling in life as a sculptor, because what you're talking about is form.
Yep.
I'm the same way, where I really love creating form. I love sculpting characters. But of course, at the end of the day, I have to, you know, throw some paint on top of everything.
Yeah.
So I love form. Like I said, you know, I didn't even compliment your colors.
Oh, dude, no, they're not that fantastic. It's just orange hair and green jacket.
It looks great. You got some good stuff going on there. I love the bounce blues and everything you got in the shadows. So it's gonna be so good. You know, I said I came with all sorts of questions and we only really got the one. So I feel like maybe we should do like one more.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
All right. This is a pretty quick one, and I think you'll have a quick answer to it. What would be your dream IP to work on? And it doesn't have to be like an existing IP. You know, if you got your own thing, your own big idea, whatever.
Yeah, if it was existing, I guess it would probably be like Into the Spider-Verse or somewhere in that realm, just because it's very like, top of mind at the moment.
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
looks
for
sick.
sure.
But yeah, I'd like to actually make my own. That's sort of maybe the goal, whether it be through sculpture, through digital art, through animation. Like I just want to keep exploring different sort of mediums and just have fun with it, you know, like it's but yeah,
more about the process and journey than the finished result for you.
Yeah, definitely. That's the most fun part for me. It's that's how I started all this, like even on social media and that sort of stuff. It was literally just, I want to try and get better, and let's start sharing some stuff. And that's just been the most fun for me. We're
really similar in that regard, where that has always been like my passion. I remember when I started sculpting, it was more about, you know, I really like doing the thing, so I'm going to keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
Because I kept doing the thing, I got good at the thing. It's like a very simple formula where do A, get B, you know?
That's it, man. And the thing could be anything. But just what we chose is the art thing, which is, no, it's good fun.
Oh, if you weren't doing art, what would you be doing?
That's a good question. Probably I'd be heavily into software still. I still have a love for that. I still get the same feeling. Like as I'm drawing this, there's like good feelings, and it's just like you get in the flow and that kind of thing. I get the same feeling with coding and building apps and that sort of stuff as well. So I want to fold that into my stuff as well somehow. Like what that looks like, no idea. But yeah, probably that. What about yourself?
Oh man. I feel like I would probably be still doing something on YouTube. I'm not sure exactly what, but I have I have memories of like from 2008, 2009. When YouTube was just in its infancy, and I was like, oh, I want to make a YouTube channel, and I had like no idea how to do that. You know, I was pretty young at the time in high school. And I was like, you know, I see people making, you know, videos online. It can't be that hard. And eventually I got there, but it took a little longer than I thought.
Yeah, man, there is on some hard drive somewhere a YouTube video of me when maybe I was in high school. That I never released because I was too shy, and it was about I was drawing a skull, and I was going through how I was drawing a skull. I was like, not good enough. That was like 10 years, 15 years ago or something.
Okay.
So, yeah, it took me a little while to get into it, but now here we are.
That's awesome. Well, this has been super fun. Like I said, I can't wait to sculpt this character.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you come up with, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna learn a lot.
I'll try to do it justice.
Oh, of course you will. Of course you will. But cool. Wrap it up.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sticking around to the end. We had a lot of fun checking out the time lapse, and you can go on, it'll be released at the same time, aren't we? So you can go check out Follygon's channel of how he went and sculpted this character. All right, we'll see you in the next one.